somebody handed me the book. They had just finished reading it, Marine, the book about Chesty Puller and his life and career.
A lot of Marines were surprised that once they actually started reading it, I think like any book, they learned a lot from it, and they enjoyed the process.
I could not put the book down. I mean, I absolutely could not. There was just so much detail to that book. There was so many stories in that book. It was almost like the words were jumping off the page. It was almost like you could see Chesty Puller walking right beside you while reading that book.
When you have a Marine's life in your hands, you have to have every piece of knowledge at your disposal. And the Commandant Reading List is a tool that you can reference at your disposal to lead Marines.
I've taken what the Marine Corps reading list is, found things that I've really enjoyed on there, and then tried to push past that and find either things by the same author or in the same vein on the same subject.
There's a particular sergeant that really, he kind of, you know, a lot of people looked up to him, and he was very knowledgeable on a lot of things, you know, not just our MOS, you know, just in the Marine Corps in general. And he was always one of those that read a lot, and I think, you know, everybody started, you know, the people that worked with us at the time started picking up more books because he was always constantly bringing them in, reading them. He's like giving them out. So I think that kind of got me started, and a lot of the Marines that worked with me at the same time got us started reading.
If I want Marines to read a book on the Civil War, I'll start getting Marines interested in the Civil War to begin with, and then start getting them interested on where they're currently stationed. For us, it's out here in Virginia, and all the interesting things around us, from Washington, D.C. To Mount Vernon, you know, George Washington's house right down the street, or some of the battle sites to include Manassas and Fredericksburg. I get them interested, and we start talking about it, and I say, hey, by the way, if you want to know something more in detail, here's a couple great books for you to read.
Not too long ago, I took a bunch of the Marines that work with me to go see Chesty Puller's grave, and the only reason I knew where it was at is because I was reading Marine. And after I was done with the book, I started doing some research, trying to figure out where he was buried, because I wanted to go see his grave. And it turns out he was buried like 45 minutes from us, so I took a group of Marines up there to his grave. So, and by taking them up there, I kind of give them a brief history, you know, talked about the book and some of the stuff that I got from there. And then, you know, I had bought the book, so I gave it out, and you know, kind of bring them in like that.
Every Marine being a little bit different, it's hard to find maybe the one book that fits their needs. The best way to go about it, I've found, is the more I read, maybe the more I can relate to whatever it is that Marine might be looking for.
There's too much history out there to be lost, that if you're not actually reading it, we're not going to be able to capitalize on all the lessons learned that we already have out there.
I think if you look at that reading list, you can really humbly look at yourself, and you can better yourself as a leader, and in turn you can train leaders.
You know, pick any book from the Commandant's reading list, and it's everything from 1,000-year-old Chinese philosophy to wars in Iraq and Afghanistan to the Civil War, Revolutionary War, some of which aren't even about war. But Marines can learn a lot about morals and ethics, leadership and war, and educate themselves to better prepare themselves. Give them more knowledge for not only their career, but also to help them develop better Marines and to perform better in any situation, whether it's combat or just everyday life.